Hey guys, welcome back. My name is JC. If you haven't seen my face before, today's video is 23 books for 2023. I thought about doing one of those end of the year, reading wrap-ups where you go through every book that you read. One, that's a lot of work, but two, I figured the main purpose that a viewer is watching that is trying to figure out what books, that reader recommends. And so I have 23 books here. I have all of my 5-star reads for the year and then also some honorable mentions. So let's get started. I'm going to go through all my 5-star reads first, and I'm going to go through them in the order that I read them. So the first 5-star read of the year was All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. Now, I was recently asked on Bookstagram, someone was basically doing this post where they were asking various people what their top book of 2023 was, and then you kind of wrote this little blurb of why. And at first I was having a hard time because, I have all these 5-star reads. How did I choose which one was my favorite? I ended up choosing this book, which kind of surprised me. I read this, I think, last January, but when I thought about all the other books, and I know I probably even raved about other 5-star reads more than this book, but I loved this book so much. I think I would even want to reread it, which I just don't naturally reread books often because I am pretty new into reading, so there's so many books out there that I want to read for the first time, but I love this book. I also want to throw in that I'm not going to be doing a synopsis for all of these. 1, I'm not mentally prepared for that. 2, I'm still kind of recovering from being sick. 3, I do not want an hour-long video today. That's just not the goal of today. The next 5-star read, Better Than the Movies. Oh my gosh, Lin Painter. I think this is my first Lin Painter book, maybe my only Lin. Oh no, I read The Do-Over after this, but I love this book. It's often compared to the movie The Duff, and I loved that movie. It was so fun. This is the same. I had such an enjoyable time, and I love rom-coms, so all the rom-com references and just a good, wholesome, friends to lovers romance. I cannot believe I read so many amazing books this year, so many books that people rave about. I read Love and Other Words this year. Obviously 5 stars. I've recommended it every single chance I get since. So again, surprised this wasn't, my favorite book of the year. I don't know what happened, but there are so many amazing books out there. Love in Other Words. I could not recommend this enough. I couldn't. Oh my gosh. If you, for some miracle, have not read this book, people are talking about it for a reason. You need to read this. I kind of forgot that I gave the fine print 5 stars. I'm just surprised. But then I just know that I was thinking about other people. And I'm like, girl, I know other people didn't give it 5 stars, but I loved this book. I love these 2 main characters. I love, just watching them throughout the book and him battling his feelings and not wanting to like her. And then she's just a strong woman, going after what she wants, and her growing and growing that confidence as well. Oh, I love this. It was so fun. I actually haven't read any of the other books in this. I believe it's just a trilogy. So I haven't read the last 2 books, but I definitely want to. I will be continuing this. This will be finished in 2024. Mark my words. I love the fine print. Again, I just cannot believe I read these books this year, which granted, guys, I've only been on this reading journey for a couple years now, so it kind of makes sense, but Magnolia Parks, I loved this book. I remember I'm looking at my love sack sitting here in the corner, and I just plopped down and I was I'm just gonna start this. I'm gonna read a few pages, maybe a couple chapters tonight, and I could not stop reading this book. I think I read half of it in one sitting, which at that time it was big for me. The people that like it, they like it, but some people, I understand why they don't like this series because they're this is just so toxic. For me, I knew that. I knew that going in. It's just a story to me. This is not something I'm trying to, use as my romance guidance. This is a fun story. I mean, Gossip Girl on steroids, but also Gossip Girl in the UK. Say less. Then I read Beach Read. Oh my gosh. First of all, the flappiness of this book is magnificent. This was my first Emily Henry book, and I got it. I got the hype. I understood why people love this book. These 2 main characters are everything and more. Oh my gosh. I adored this. And I think this was my introduction to Emily Henry and understanding, I love her writing, as many people say, but also just seeing how she brings so much more to the story. There's always something deeper to it. There's real people dealing with real issues that we deal with in life, but I just like how she embraces it in the stories, because I feel like it's so easy to want to just escape, right? Like, you just like, oh, I just want a fluffy book, or I'm reading fantasy because I don't want to deal with real world stuff. But she brings the real world stuff in a way that, like, I can connect to the character without, like, being, like, upset or sad or not wanting to read it. I don't know. She just finds that balance really well. Okay, I have next on here Happy Place, but there's no way I read this before my other book. I don't know. I read Happy Place, and I loved this book so much. Oh, wait. When did I may have read this, actually. I think I also read it in June. I don't know. I love this book. I love this book. I love this book. I love this book. Like, I think I love this book more than Beach Read because it read more like women's fiction with a subplot of romance, but I just loved our main character's development here because I think it was just stuff that I related to more. And I feel like anytime that I've recommended this book or talked about this book, I very much highlight, like, people will not like this, and I can understand why they wouldn't like this. I feel like just in general, Emily Henry's writing, if you cannot connect to the character, then, like, I understand where people, you know, like, I don't understand the hype, I don't get it. I love this because I am that main character. She is me, I am her. Please read Happy Place. Please do it. I read A Court of Mist and Fury. This is the second book in ACOTAR. Guys, no, I have not read anything more after this, and it's embarrassing. Literally, it's just the thickness of the books that intimidates me. That's it. I want to continue this, and I want to, like, well, I want to finish it, and I'm going to. It's coming soon, but I think it's just, like, a mental blocker. I'm like, I know when I pick up the next book, I'm not going to want to put it down, but for some reason, I'm like, oh, I can't do that. Like, I don't know. I love this book. I love the, like, jump in development that we got, because I think I loved ACOTAR, like, the first book, but I gave it, like, 4.5 stars, maybe, or 4, I can't remember. This I knew I was giving 5 stars. I mean, I started tabbing it in the beginning, and then I wanted to just sit down and devour the book, and so that's what I did for, like, the last, I don't know, 60% or something. Like, I was like, oh, I'm going to slowly read this, I'm going to annotate, and then I'm like, hell no, I need to figure out what happens now. And I did, in 5 stars. I love these characters. And then I read His and Hers by Alice Feeney. This was not my first Alice Feeney book. I read Rock, Paper, Scissors first, and then I read His and Hers. And something about this story, I'm like, 5 stars. Like, I had no critiques on it. I was hooked from the beginning. I kept, you know, as a page turner, I kept just wanting to finish this, and I kept saying, like, you know, 1 more chapters, I'm just going to see. And I think I probably read it in either 1 sitting or maybe 2 sittings. Like, I don't remember, but I just know that I devoured that book, and I'm like, no notes. No notes. Okay. I honestly don't know how this wasn't my top read of the year because of how much this book stuck with me and how obsessed I was, and I was trying to talk about it with anyone that would listen. I'm surprised. I am surprised. 4th Wing. Like, 6 stars, honestly. I think the biggest thing I have to say on this book is I was very impressed with how much I cared for all of the characters involved in the story. Like, it wasn't just me by the end being like, oh my gosh, you know, like, Violet, like, I love seeing this development in the first book, or, you know, like, I can't wait to see what happens with her, or, you know, Xaden, or Dane, or anyone that's, like, kind of one of those kind of main few characters. Like, I just was really impressed with how much I cared for all of the side characters. They didn't feel like side characters. For me, it felt like I had, you know, like 6 main characters, and I cared for each of them so much by, you know, halfway through this book. I have not read Iron Flame yet. I started it, but I'm doing the reading vlog, so I couldn't just sit down and read it, and then I left for a month, and I knew I wasn't going to be doing a reading vlog in December, so it's coming. It's coming. I'm finishing it this month. If it goes to my plan, I'm finishing it this month, but at least read this book. At least read this book. Then I picked up The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This was my first Jennifer Lynn Barnes book. This was the journey for the rest of the year, okay? I love this book so much. I mean, hello, I gave it 5 stars, but, like, this was so fun. This was so fun. I think it was Larry Reed's that first kind of introduced this book to me, and then I saw a lot of people starting to read it. I love true crime. I love documentaries about crime. That sounds creepy and it sounds bad, but hey, I'm not alone in this. I know, okay? I know there's people out there watching this video. You guys like true crime documentaries as well. So I knew that I would love this. Absolutely did. I love jumping into this and like you're already in the story. Her writing was so fast-paced. It was so easy to read. I devoured this. And then I read Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I love this book so much. I think I read it. When did I read it? Really? At the end of August? Huh. Well, it was a like Halloween setting book, but it wasn't like, you know, spooky season Halloween, but just it was set on Halloween, I believe. And it was such a plot twist to me. Now, I've talked about me reading thrillers and mysteries and whatever. Like, I don't read them to figure out the plot twist. I'm reading them for someone to tell me a story. Like, Alice Feeney, tell me what happens. I'm going to sit here, chill out, have a good time. That's what happened here. The plot twist got me. I was just so shocked, and it was so good. Every chapter, I was just so intrigued, and I think that's just the thing about Alice Feeney's writing. Is like, I think all those books at least get 4 stars from me because I'm enjoying the entire process. And then I read another Emily Henry book, 5 stars. That's 3 books this year. I think I also read People We Meet on Vacation, and I gave it maybe 4.5 stars. But it wasn't a 5-star. I knew that, but like 5 stars. So 3 of 4 books I think I read by her this year were 5-star reads. I love Emily Henry. Book lovers, like, I was worried reading this because, or like, you know, initially picking it up because I saw so many people like, well, that's just like my least favorite book by Emily Henry. No. But I think it's, again, the same thing where, like, I was relating to the character here. And I was like, I get this main female character. I am her, she is me. And I understood why she was doing what she was doing. But I feel like people that just get frustrated by that stuff, then they're like, yeah, I don't get it. This is not as good. But I'm like, I get it. I get it. And this was so fun. I love that it wasn't a typical romance story. It's like 2 strangers meeting, you know, slowly developing feelings, slowly admitting feelings, and like they get together at the end. Like, that was just not the storyline of this, and I loved it. I continued on with the Natural series, and I ended up giving Allin, the 3rd book, 5 stars. This was my favorite book of the series. Like, if I had to, you know, rank this one with The Naturals book 1, like, this would get 5.1 stars. You know, like, this was my favorite book of the series. It was just so fun. I was like, I think by the end of this is when I was like, I want to be Jennifer Lynn Barnes' friend. Like, she seems so cool, and her brain has to work so uniquely. Like, to come up with all the stuff in this series, that is hard. And I'm just so impressed with this. Please, please, please read this series. My last 5-star read of the year was A Curse for True Love. Oh my Lanta. I felt all the feelings in this. I felt all of them. I went through it. We went through it together because of that reading vlog. I love this book. Like, I think ultimately, like, are there tiny things I would change? I mean, I'm sure, yeah. Do I always want more Jacks? Yes. But ultimately, this was a 5-star read for me, and I loved, loved, loved this book. I hope we get at least another 1 book with a storyline of 2 additional characters that totally have a love thing going on. That would be amazing. I would love another trilogy just because I love this world and I want to see more of these characters, but I'll take at least 1 more book. Okay, now we're going to go through those honorable mentions. There's kind of more than just, you know, the what is it, like 8 more books or something, because some of them are series and I'm just recommending the series to you. But the first one is the Caraval trilogy. This is what you need to read first before heading into the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, and I totally recommend doing that. I don't recommend reversing it because I read, I think, Caraval, and then I want to say I read Caraval, Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then finished these 2 and then headed into the rest of Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. But I think I would have loved Once Upon a Broken Heart way more if I just would have read these 3 first. Like, I think I gave that book 3 or 3.5 stars, but I would have probably given it like 4.5 if I had already developed the knowledge of Jax, which you get in these 2 books, the last 2 books of the trilogy. And guys, I recommend this. Like, I loved our main characters in this trilogy. Jax is just one of them that then you have another trilogy to go read after, but I recommend Caraval because I love Caraval. Like, this book, though, I have to tell you, I have to tell everyone, if you do not absolutely love this book, I think I gave this 3.5 stars. Please continue it. These two books gave me everything. I think they both got like 4.5 stars. I love this trilogy. Please read it. Okay, battery switched. Let's carry on. I gave you the Curse for True Love, but ultimately I'm recommending you this trilogy. I really love the development through these books. I think I gave each of these, well, this one may have gotten a little lower, but I feel like this got like a 4.5 stars. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I think, again, I would have loved it so much more if I had read all of Caraval before this. But this trilogy, Jax, he's my kind of guy, good or bad. I always crush on those guys in books and movies and TV shows. It's terrible, but I love it. Please read them. After reading the Natural series, I picked up the Inheritance Games. I already had the first book, and I had it for so long, and it made me so sad that I hadn't read it sooner. The moment I read this, I went and bought the 2 books, the next 2 books in the trilogy, ASAP. Okay, I think it's a series. Frankly, I'm still confused by it, but I read these 3 books so quickly. I think I gave them each 4.5 stars. They were so good. And it's one of those things where I want to be Jennifer Lynn Barnes' best friend. What she had to do to put these together blows my mind that someone comes up with this stuff. Like, that is so impressive. It was so impressive. Like, all the different turns and, like, puzzle pieces you're putting together. These were so good. Like, I wish I could reread these. And I have the Brothers Hawthorne. Kind of confused by it as far as like the timeline of what I'm like what is what. And then I know the Grandest Game, I believe, comes out this year in 2024, and I am definitely picking that up, and I think that is the final book, and I guess what is a series, a 5-book series. But the Brothers Hawthorne, I don't think is a normal, I don't know, guys, I don't know, but 10 out of 10 recommend. I flew through these books. Then I'm recommending Dance of Thieves. This is a duology that I loved, and I'm so, like, I still need to read Vow of Thieves. I went to start it, and then I never ended up starting it. Like, I was like, oh, this is my next read. This is my current read, you know, and then I never started it. And then there's that. But I still need to finish it. But this book, I think I gave it 4.75 stars. Like, might as well be a 5-star read, you know, in your eyes. So I recommend this so much, and the fact that it's a duology makes it so much more achievable. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I get intimidated trying to start like another series, which you will be seeing videos soon of me finishing series that I'm in the middle of, because it is ridiculous. I continue to just start a new series and never finish one. It's embarrassing, but this, way more attainable. Oh, I want to throw this in here just as like completion, but obviously I'm recommending the entire Natural series. I gave 2 of the 4 books 5 stars. Like, I'm recommending it. So I do have these here. Oh, focus. Come on. Okay. I do have these here, and I just wanted to for sure tell you guys, read that. Okay, and then I have this book, My Year of Rest and Relaxation. This was my first, like, out of my comfort zone read. Like, it wasn't a romance. It wasn't me trying to get into fantasy or something. This was wild, and I couldn't recommend it more. If you're getting into literary fiction, see if you like this book. It is definitely, like, hyped up amongst literary fiction for a reason. I love this. It was so quirky. Like, I was just like, what am I reading, and why can't I stop? That's how I felt reading this book. Please read it. I'm also recommending the Atlas 6, which then in turn, the Atlas Paradox as well, and then the Atlas Complex comes out, I believe, this month in January. So, this book was so fun. I just remember when I first picked this up, I was like, I just don't understand what I'm getting myself into, but I see a lot of people talk about it. I think Haley Pham really liked it. This was fun. Like, I am an academic person. Like, I enjoy that scene. I enjoyed school to some level. Test anxiety, full blown, but like, just having like classes, taking notes, and like college, like, I don't know. There's a fun part of it, and that's what I feel like when I read these academic setting books. And then you get a magical part of this. Like, they have these special abilities, whether or not, you know, it's something to do with how they can physically do stuff, like as far as physics, the subject, and then like reading minds, you know, making people do things. Someone having some like earth capability was kind of weird. But that was a weird one. But yes, I read the first 2 books. These are good. I need to buy the second one still because I want to have them. But the Alice 6, the Alice Paradox. Read them. Then Mary Jane. This is another literary fiction book that was kind of out of my comfort zone as far as it not having this fantasy plot or romance plot. This was so cool to me. That's how I would describe this book. It was cool. Like, I loved watching this teenager. Well, okay, but how old is she? 14. Yeah. I felt like I was reading about a 14-year-old. It was so cool because I feel like when an adult is writing like a teenager, it'd be so easy to kind of age them up on accident. But no, like all the thoughts that we were getting of Mary Jane, like I felt like I was in a 14-year-old's mind, and that made it so much more understandable. And just watching then her growth over that summer, it was just a cool book. If you've thought about reading it, because I know it's definitely like popular, like a lot of people have brought it up, read it. The last honorable mention I have for 2023 is Princess of Souls by Alexandra Christo, I believe. This is the second book in this, what I believe is kind of a standalone series, kind of like the Never After series. So this series is kind of these reimagined fairy tales. The first one was To Kill a Kingdom, and that was the mermaid one, the Little Mermaid retelling. And then this one was the Beast one? No, that was not Beauty and the Beast. It was something that I can't remember, but just, it's not a retelling in like a fluffy way. That's why I say the Never After series. There's definitely more of this twisted element to it. And I just really liked it. It was so fun. Like the first one, I think I gave maybe 3.5 stars. Like I was just like, oh, this is fun. Maybe I gave it 4. I don't remember. But Princess of Souls, I think I gave 4.5 stars. And it was very fun. I loved it more than To Kill a Kingdom for sure. And the story of it, I just flew through it. I loved the author's writing, and there's not much more to say on it than, like, obviously I'm recommending it, and I hope that there's more to come from that author and that kind of standalone series-esque situation going on. So, yeah. So now I have a lot of books to go put away, but these are my 23 books for 2023. This is my last kind of, end of the year video that I'm putting out. My next video will be my 2024 reset video. Guys, I don't know what I was thinking when I was filming my haul video a couple days ago. I was like, yeah, my next video, reset video. And I just forgot that I was filming this. Like I planned to, I don't know. I'll blame it on kind of being sick, but 2023 is over. 2024 reset next week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.